And here we are. I'm gonna wait a little bit more. Though there's absolutely no point of it. I should just get into the video as fast as possible. Not so more like into the stream, but I guess you know what I mean. Literally everyone and their mother is making a video about War Thunder dying or something like that. And I mean they aren't wrong at all. The game is in a terrible state. In the sense that I mean it's alright, right, to play, but the game modes are stale. Half of the vehicles have no reason to exist beyond just collectibles, and the events suck. The grind is way too long. And we also have a really fucking pay to win premium now in the game. And I want to start with this one because the F14D is a vehicle everyone was waiting for. And even without the MRAMs, even without everything, this plane is still absolutely awesome. It fixes the biggest problem with the F14B, which is the shitty radar. So now you have a pretty good radar on the F14D. So now if you're really a big Tomcat enjoyer, someone who wants to play the Tomcat, your best option is to just buy this one for 80 euros, which is insane, an insane price for what it actually is. And the biggest problem is that, like, yeah, this is the definitive Tomcat in the game too. It's the Tomcat. It isn't a side grade to the F14B, even though a lot of people I heard refer to it as like, oh, this is just a side grade to the F14B. If you have the F14B, you're really not winning anything because, yeah, of course, it has a different radar, but it's not really that different. This radar is insane. It's really good, at least compared to the B's radar. You can actually do a lot of things with this radar. Something that you really can, so that it's just much more reliable, much better to use, and that is locked behind an 80 euro paywall. And you can argue that, yeah, but it doesn't really matter beyond bigger ranges. But man, it's like the entire Tomcat is just supposed to be eat MRAMs and or MRAMs Phoenixes, eat Phoenixes and gamble, and that's not all there is to it. There is a lot more things to do with this plane, and being good or at least semi good at one thing is not gonna make a plane good, in my opinion at least. So no, this the F14B just sucks compared to the D, and it really is painful to see that this isn't even like the F18C early or any of the C earlies or A lates of the premium F18s, where it was pretty easy. You have the lower T F18s, they are weaker in general, but they only at 12.3, so they are still really fine to play. And then you have the C lates, which are almost or well, they are top tier planes, and then the Super Hornets, which are top tier planes. They are even further developed. There is no such thing. If you want to play the best Tomcat in the game, that's 80 euros. And if you bought the EDF, I didn't buy it, I grinded it out back then. And I still don't really like this thing. I like it for the sense that I have this Tomcat too. I like this thing. In the sense that I am proud that I have every will have every Tomcat, but yeah, I have this one too. And sure enough, this one has its own problems. Mainly the fuck wars being the only saving grace this thing has, and it's at 13.3. So it really is the definitive Phoenix Eater, or well, in this case, fuck war Eater. And the F14D becomes it just does everything better than every other Tomcat in the game at 13.0. Which really makes me mad because this means if I want to play the Tomcat as much as I want to play the Tomcat, I'm gonna have to drop 80 euros, which is a big price for what should have been a simple Tech 3 edition. Even if it was, but yeah, Gaijin surely has to add a premium. Why didn't it just add an F14A late as a premium, or just make the F14B and D swap places? That's also probably like a possibility because remember that Gaijin did this thing when they released the 912 and they pushed the 913 up, but it was like a big swap and something. I don't really quite remember it as well because I didn't really care. So there's a lot of options that Gaijin could do, which they don't do at all. At anything they do, the game modes are stale, so gameplay isn't even that fun anymore. And that's the big problem that a lot of planes just don't even have any place. Not to mention tanks. Tanks are a lot of them are have their entire place forged out simply to just be. Because if you think about it, the M44 and M55 artilleries, everybody knows them, and I don't think anybody really likes those things because first of all, these are these are artillery pieces. They have absolutely no armor. You can just 50 cal them out if you're in a tank that has a 50 cal. You can gun them down with a plane. It's not that difficult to deal with them. For that, you have a long reload, but a funny derp gun, which in the M109's case doesn't even work that well. And the M55 and M34, they are also Cold War vehicles in a really, really low BR. Unquestionably low BR, that is. They ruin immersion, they are just really annoying by simply existing, and that's because they have no place in the game. Literally, Gaijin just decided that there is one game mode in this game, which is realistic battles. Of course it is. Well, talking about realistic battles, it's ground RB, and that place is not fit for these kind of vehicles. So instead of trying to fix the game mode, they just push these vehicles so low that they are actually able to compete. Not in their own role, but something similar. They can shoot at tanks and that's it. I don't and I don't think these vehicles should be taken out of the game. I think they should be given something akin to their role and then pushed up to their historical BRs, or at least at a little bit. Just push them up to 7.0 and over that because facing a K9 Vidar, which is a really recent vehicle, it's literally being produced right now as we speak. And you face it with a King Tiger, that's just ridiculous. And that's not the only time that happens. Ground attackers have no place in War Thunder except for ground realistic battles. But even then, if you don't have the plane so grinded already, you have no way to use it really effectively against enemy tanks. So you're and even then in ground realistic battles, you still have to do some tank stuff first. So if you're really joining the game to do CAS or something, then you have no place to play the IL-2, the Stuka, or anything really. There are planes like the Jaguar, and most importantly the L-39 Albatross and the new trainers, Yak 130. These are being added in, and the Alpha Jets were here too, but they are still that category where they are 8.7 or or even lower, a 6.7. Some Spitfires can easily face a modern jet. They can easily face a modern jet because hey, they are not supposed to be like they are bad at air-to-air fights. So why not just put them down in low VRs? But it's just not how things should be working. But that's how they work right now because Gaijin decided that making game modes different and roles to have a use in the game is just too hard. Let everyone just play this old team deathmatch gameplay and have fun with it. Well, if but it gets really stale, and if you want to play bombers or for something, anything for a change, it just doesn't work. Even naval sometimes doesn't work, even when you just go and play it for fun or something. A lot of times, it's just still something is missing there. So, if you don't want to play, oh fuck, play ships or tanks, then you really don't have anywhere to go. Well, no, my role rate is dead, so I'm pretty much dead because I can't really outfight him now. Such a state. I should have pulled down, but like shit. I don't even know what to tell you. That's like, in my opinion, very bad. I mean, the part where I just died because I was stupid. I'm really learning props because I didn't play props for a long time. I want to finish the F18F, so I and the F14, so I just play jets a lot. So I'm really not used to playing props for a long time now. Holy shit. Wait, the game crashed. The game crashed. Well, something's not working. Something really just crashed. The game just crashed. That's what happened. Don't worry, I'm already doing starting to restarting the game. I mean, just think about it in the way that you queue in an LRB match, wanting to face planes of your own era at least. Not perfectly, but at least mostly your own era. Give me the Spitfire, you think you're gonna face, well, mostly BF-109s, maybe if the US is in the enemy team. But even then, that's also something that like that historical matchmaking should be more of a thing than oh yeah, every nation can be against every nation. No questions remaining. Anyone can be against anyone. That's also not something I consider a positive, except when the queue times are getting really long. But the queue times are short. I don't see the problem. I don't see why. things go the way they do. I really don't. You aren't facing anything else. You get a full up tier, and hey, you don't even face an Me-262, but you do face one of the a modern trainer aircraft. And this is the same for everything, basically, which just sucks. And this is not even the biggest problem, at least not for me. It's alright, but and it could have been worse, but still, it's something that really annoys me. It annoys the hell out of me when I get killed by a Cold War light tank in my Tiger or something, or Sherman Firefly and get killed by something that I really should not be facing. And it's not even that, oh god, it's too OP. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it really is really OP to face something so advanced in technology, but usually it's not that big of a deal, right? But it still just takes away from the immersion. Or, well, any immersion. It just doesn't really sit right with me. So D22. I don't think I should be facing a fight with them. Yeah, yeah, he's oh, god damn it's yeah, he's got a little bit of an up tier. Get nothing over the usual. And for a long time, it has been the same way. You queue up into a match, you don't even really know what you're gonna face. You see the flags and you see, oh god, what is Israel doing here? But this is, yeah, it tries to be mostly historical, this one, but it usually isn't like this. And again, the biggest problem is that the game mode is so stale. If your plane doesn't excel in what is the meta tactic, then your plane sucks. And even then, there's a lot of planes that just gained infamy, like the Zero and the Spitfire. Like they can turn well, yeah, sure, that's a really good thing. And though nobody comes to dogfight you at all, like everyone just runs away from you if you exist. It's really hard to get into an engagement where you don't magically where you're not such a disadvantage that you're nearly just guaranteed to lose. If you have a chance, then nobody's gonna engage you, and that's something along the lines that there are two kind of players in lower BRs. Some people who are like already really good at the game, they are really dedicated to World War II gameplay, and then those who just grind and they just suck so bad. And I don't. And in my personal experience, it's also hard to fight the people who are just trying to grind through the game and they have no interest in propeller planes at all because they do things that you would never expect someone to do, like and that's the entire old idea, the old sentiment when like back in the League of Legends days we had this conversation about how it really gets when you are good at the game and you get into higher elos, higher ranks, you will get used to everyone at least doing something fine, and when you get into a low matchmaker, then it's really hard to do anything because everyone just does everything so randomly. You don't even really know what you should be doing in this case. You're not used to everyone just head-oning and doing stupid things. And that's the same for War Thunder. If you're fighting against someone who literally has no want to be here, they just want to get the top tier plane and they just are stuck here because they couldn't buy a premium, then they will do things that a lot of the time really hard to counter in the sense that, oh hey, I didn't expect that. And when you're like me and play every single thing in the game, I play naval, I play low tier, I play high tier, all of these things are really different experiences. It gets really hard to keep everything on your mind, everything trained in, you know. The muscle memories from top tier just appear right here, and then I'm like, oh hey, I shouldn't, shouldn't. Yeah, I'm dead. You don't really should. It's just not. I'm not used to doing anything in this BR anymore, especially in a Spitfire or any Spitfire, really, not just the Seafire, every Spitfire, because I'm just not used to what the meta has shifted towards. Back then, when I played this plane much more, it was different, a lot different. You climbed, a lot of people remained high for longer, and you could really dogfight a lot of people. But now it's just, oh hey, that's all Spitfire. Let's just leave the entire game. Just don't let, don't go close to him. Don't at all. And even then, I'm like trying to find new tactics that could work, because with a Spitfire, I mean, my biggest issue with this plane is my own self. If I win, I kill someone, it doesn't really feel good to me. If I don't, like, there are only two things that, like, with this plane. There are only a few amount of things that can really satisfy my hunger. I don't feel good for killing someone in an FE 190 or something that just has a hard time countering the Spitfire in energy advantage. I like, you need that kind of gameplay where you're fighting in a 3v1 against three Yak 9s and of zero, and only then does the win really matter. And that's the only time it actually feels like you won. Under that, you positioned well, you killed an FE190, that doesn't matter. He couldn't do anything against you. You just outturned him. He could have run away, but you killed him. That's not a victory, that's an execution. That's not a fight. And that's a situation I'm in with this plane. I'm trying to look for something that really makes sense. That I some situations where I actually feel good for fighting the enemy, but they just don't come. They just absolutely do not come. It's a very weird situation because it just does feel like every match ends in 5 minutes. No matter what you do, it just ends in 5 minutes. And it's not even in the sense that, oh, the game is over and we can go next. It's the one team is just entirely wiping the floor with the other by 5 minutes into the game, and that from that 5 minutes, four of them was just climbing for those four to climb, and the other ones just reach the battlefield. The furball happens, and a lot of enemies die, and you're like, oh hey, I can't even make an ace in a game anymore because there's like four enemies left, and two of them are already in a fight. And like, you can go like, oh yeah, that's just skill issue. Like, you should just climb high. But I don't want to get this situation where like every time I climb high is the same shit. It's the same shit every single time. Climb high, no enemies, absolutely zero enemies left high. So you have to go low, and then, oh hey, actually there was a BF109. Now he's gonna energy fight you, and he's actually one of the the good players. And now he's gonna go energy fighting you, and it's like, I don't want to say I'm a good player, but you get the idea. The two titans meet, one with a good turn fighter, ready for doesn't giving not giving in to the temptation of going up and dogfighting him. No, and then the other one is just insane patience. Oh, that F6F is that. I know how these things go by now. He's in a fight. He's gonna die just because I engaged him. Goodbye. Well, I guess he failed, and I actually got the kill. First kill of the stream, actually. That's fun. And there's like the yak trees. I think I hate the yak trees the most. Since I came back to Pablo Lempe, I have grown to hate the yak nines and yak trees a lot. They are just fundamentally good planes, and they are usually used by players who, because they play Russia, just are forced to learn at least a little bit. But they don't even really care about these planes anymore at that much, so it's not that big of a deal for them to. Oh fuck. He has so much more energy than I have, especially because I turned. And now I have someone in my backside, but I don't want to just take care. Yeah. Yeah, that's bad. I could I have to relearn defensive flying again because there is no such thing as defensive flying in high tier. You can't do that in a Tomcat or an F-18. You just get missiled for existing. Or you're daring to go for a gunfight. Well, here's a missile. Is he just gonna roll? Yeah, he is. And he dropped total. I can hear that. Thank you. And there's someone already in my ass. That's an F8F. That I really have to do. The good old. The good old pull down method. But he's gonna come back. And I want to be as slow as possible because apparently now, if I remember correctly, there's a maneuver kill mechanic, and if he just manages to blast his ass into the trees, that's okay for me. And I'm fairly fair with that, especially now that the game actually considers that a kill, and it's just not just like a cosmetic. Even back then it was okay, but like I want the rewards. I want some rewards for existing in the game, for having good choices made or something. F8F, what are you doing? I could climb, I could, but I really don't want to. I just don't know which one of them is the bigger problem. The Act 3 is a bigger problem. It is by far the bigger problem. And he has severely more energy than I have. But I'm a Spitfire, so let me just one circle him. Because I can one circle him. And now he's gone. Literally not interested in an engagement anymore. There's a Corsair on top of me. Wow, that's wait, what? That was a cool, that was a interesting moment. Didn't check him for 5 seconds. He immediately pulled into me, and by the time I reacted to it, it was over. That's interesting, but usual, the usual. Could be using the Wyvern, but I'm really not into bombing right now. I really don't want to bomb anything. Wyvern bomber. Ooh. It's gotta be a Wyvern bomber every time. It's like that's the whole thing. This plane is like so toxic. It's crazy. I have a bunch of planes that are really good, and they have like a reputation that makes me not want to use to use them. Even though I like them, I used to really like just flying around in the Ju-288C. It's a fast, it's a Schnellbomber. It does what it's advertised to do, and I think it's fun to play. It's much more adventurous as a bomber than the strategic ones because you actually want to fly into the fight, or at least close to the ground, and then like you're in a permanent dive in the first half of the match, and then you're just bomber with really strong engine power because it has 4 engines, but only 2 propellers. It's a really cool plane. It's really interesting historically too, or well, mechanically the engines, the engine couplings. That's why I bought it originally, and then I was told that I shouldn't play it because it's a toxic ass grinding vehicle, and I was like, oh, well, fuck. So I bought the Wyvern too, and I love the Wyvern because it's again a cool turboprop. British turboprop. It's really cool, and oh no, the Wyvern players just suck, man. Yeah, the Wyvern players they just. Well, I think it should be at least at 6.3 or something or 6.7 because again, it's not era appropriate. This is not a World War II plane. It was designed in World War II, but that doesn't really matter. At least to me, it doesn't. Absolutely doesn't matter to me that it's a World War II plane, or at least it was designed then. And like you can argue that the Centurion was done by World War II, but it still wasn't. And I think I can agree with that. It was done, but it couldn't be used anymore. Just just exactly slipped off. So I think because it's a main battle tank that's a little bit different than I think balancing main battle tanks and fighters is a bit different than balancing ground attackers or like side vehicles that are not just PvP in the sense that they have a different role. If its main goal isn't to kill tanks, then it should just. What am I supposed to even? Oh my god. Like the guide to dogfighting said, you don't want to play a Spitfire because nobody's gonna fight a Spitfire. Of course, nobody's gonna fight a Spitfire. It's one of the best dogfighting planes in the game, and that's why I have to relearn defensive fighting because, again, I played so much top tier, and there is no defensive flying in top tier. The defensive flying means that you're flying in a notch angle, or at least close to that. And this is not that. This is an entirely different situation, and jet tier, nobody can play jets. That's or like early jets. It's like fundamentals of jet combat are there, and why would you even take a care about the fundamentals of jet combat? In when most people who are interested in higher tiers, they are immediately interested in top tier, or at least close to top tiers, modern vehicles. And those who aren't, then they are most likely just into World War II props and maybe World War II jets. So you don't really have much defensive flying going on. Panther or something. Oh fuck. I think he can very well. Yep, he can very well. I didn't judge his speed that well. He, I lost so. I didn't even just lost so much energy. He just had more. I just suck at this. I just really am sucking at this. Hello, Kazuma. Nice to see you here. Things aren't going that well, I think. I didn't want to show you that bad gameplay at all. But that's what's happening right now. It's bad gameplay. It's me being bad at the game. Usually I'm not this bad, but well, whatever. I'm just relearning props because maybe I should play a different plane, but yeah, there's no point really. Maybe I should fly lower and just try to engage people who are more low and just attack in the early game and then go defensive and dogfight in the late game. That's usually what I used to do, but now I'm not so sure if that's a good idea anymore. It used to be a much better idea. It used to be something that I did a lot and it worked like a charm every single time. I went in at 3000 or somewhere around that and flew into the battle and just energy fought half of the enemy team in a Spitfire in the early game because that was a bigger mothball in the middle of the match. That you could actually find some players down there. Now people are climbing again, but they're not climbing that high again, or like they don't really try to stay there. They just come down. As long as you have 5 people on the game, they will be down in the ground in no time. It's really weird. I don't really know how to judge situations anymore because I'm just boomered out of the situations. I'm not used to them anymore. So I would be glad, but again, the amount of games I've played in the Seafire and the other Spitfires, it's a lot, and it feels really bad when it just doesn't go as well as you wanted it to be. I think a lot more people are using the 3000 rule, and that's also something that I really don't like. In the sense that yeah, that's nice for them, but me, I'm out of the game because I that's something I really hate to engage someone in an energy equality or how do I should I say that an altitude no advantage. That's why I don't like dogfight the tournaments and all that. It's just I don't like when everything is just entirely pulled out of from under your feet and you're entirely up to fighting your own plane. That's the worst part. I really hate when they like yeah, but you can only bring this exact plane because it has the flight performance that we are looking for, and like that's how the better player will be announced. Yeah, but for me, most of War Thunder is about knowing. It's like I couldn't fight a Spitfire in a Spitfire because I don't really consider general things when I'm flying, which I should really improve for myself. But I usually are like, okay, let's see. I'm against the Yak 3. What the Yak 3 is really slow. They rip really easily. So I should just either rip them or turn fight them because they are not really that good in anything. They are really mid planes. And you're like into FE 190, they roll well, but they turn like shit because nobody knows how to use the flaps. There's the Alien 9, they don't turn well compared to my Spitfire. Everything is compared to my plane, of course. Probably not Mustang, then I'm gonna be much more into like, oh hey, they are slower than me. They are still like worse turners, so I'm not gonna be. That's done. There's a Yak 9 or Yak 3 behind me. I'm gonna die if I crash into a building, so I'm not gonna crash into a building instead of fighting the Yak 3. Is there... For enemy 410, I don't care. I'm in a turn fight. The enemy 410 can't really do anything in a turn fight. If you don't, we could help. He actually had a shot there. But he actually just... He actually just absolutely maxing it. I think the P-51 is gonna take that kill. Yeah, he did it. Which the only... I'm like trying to get kills. Assists just feel unearned. To me, this entire Spitfire problem, as I said before, is that you don't earn anything. If you don't fight someone and you don't get the kill, then it's like you did nothing. It doesn't really show that you did anything good, you fought anything well. You just was lucky if you get an assist. That doesn't matter. If you get a kill against someone who was in an energy disadvantage, that means nothing. If you get a kill against someone who's not a good turn fighter, then that means nothing. If that's just how it feels to play the Spitfire, at least now, because of... You can see Gaijin's balance is also thinking somewhat around that principle, as they pushed the best zero in the game, which is a premium you can't even buy anymore. I have it. It was really cheap and I love it. To 5.7, because it's apparently funny to put it into 5.7. Why? Because it turns well, and a lot of people don't know how to be patient and fight enemies. Oh fuck, he killed my engine. Yeah, I'm gonna have to land this thing, but first I'm gonna take this guy down. For this one, you took my engine, you took my beloved Griffon off my plane, I'm taking your life. And now we need to put this thing down, and I think this highway is perfect for that. It's a very chill landing. I hope that doesn't have a bottom. Yeah, it doesn't have a... Wow. Never seen this city from this side before. Never landed inside. But, well, when you have no engine, you kinda gotta do what you gotta do. So yeah. Stick the landing. Absolutely buttery smooth. At least that was managed. I really want that F-14D. Think I should play something that isn't a Spitfire, but... Like, wait, let me show you, let me show the... Let me show the... A6M5. This is at 5.7, solely for its ability to turn. A lot of people can't counter that, the fact that it can turn. The Spitfire is also getting nerfed to the shade, because it can turn. Oh my god, it can turn. Can't really do anything else, but it can turn. Should really play something that isn't a Spitfire, just simply for the funs of it. Not on the stock Hornet. I don't think I want to play a stock Hornet, but I really want to finish the Boeing Washington as fast as possible. The Valkyne, it just sucks. Honestly, I didn't see anything that would be worthy for the Valkyne. It's added to the game. It's cool that it's added to the game because this was a plane that was missing from the game. But if you think about it, can it really do anything in this current BR or current meta? I think it might actually be, but not really. It's not as. It's just not worth it in the end. It doesn't work as well as it should. Not the meta that would be able to support such a vehicle. Maybe in sim. Maybe in sim. I really should work on the Japanese because I need the Yamato. Even though it won't be useful at all, it would still be fun. Oh money. I think recent games were really bad. Yeah, I shouldn't play. Holy shit. This one was decent. I think we should go to play China because China is gonna be my next R3 that I want to finish. Give me a second. And China has the J10, the JH7A, which I want, and the J15, which are SU-27s, but not. China has a bunch of really interesting fighters. If you ever have the capacity to think about those things, it's not actually that big of a deal with copy paste. The early tiers are because you have to know that China had a very different situation in World War II than a lot of other nations because it didn't fight in World War II as directly as others. You know that Japan was a major nation, Britain was one of the most majors. Germany started the whole thing that has actually became World War II because actually Japan started it with the Sino-Japanese War, but and that's where China was in. And the thingy with China is that literally nobody cared that much about it. It happened and that's it. It was a warlord era, so there was a lot of different factions in China at the time. And they all had their own little weak militaries, which Japan tried to conquer, but it was a Japanese moment and or a China moment, and the amount of people who were there, like the amount of soldiers, they just couldn't do it, especially because they had no money, because all the money went to the navy because of the Japanese inter-service rivalry. So all the money went to the navy for a good reason, because for some reason they attacked Pearl Harbor, and from then on they attacked. They got attacked by the U.S. Of course they are. What did they expect? Well, they expected that they were like, oh God, we can't join the war because our ships are destroyed by the Japanese. Wow. Well, that hit us out of the war. We can't do anything. Well, Pearl Harbor didn't really matter anything to the Americans. It was just a good propaganda piece and a good reason to start a war against Japan, and then they attacked Japan. There was no point at that moment for Japan to focus on China as much because they got so overwhelmed by the U.S. Navy, and in the early years, I think not even years, 6 months, they actually were winning, and then Midway happened, and then they were not winning anymore. They were just suddenly not winning anymore. It was over. It was so over. And from then on, Japan was like, oh, okay, well, maybe we aren't winning, but we should try winning still. No surrender. That's dishonorable. I can get behind that for a while, and then 1944 hits and 1945, it just gets things just get even worse. And in the meantime, Japan is like in this little dispute with China over their territories, and for China that's like a huge thing. And also the war crimes. We don't talk about the war crimes here. Not right now. This is about military aircraft and tanks and that stuff. And China's little nations get their equipment from wherever they can. Doesn't really matter when, from where. Could be from the US, could be from Russia, the Soviet Union back then, and then they could also have got some planes by capturing them from the Japanese. That was their whole ordeal. They got a lot of vehicles, and that's how they got in War Thunder. That's a bait. Never took the Firecrest bait. It's an ancient tactic for the Firecrest to pull down the climbing fighters and then entirely put them up to be killed by their teammates because the Firecrest. Okay, cool. The Firecrest died, and it was the Sakin. That's nice. The Czech S199. Damn. Now I'm just into the. I want to go and fight a Spitfire now. Oh fuck. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's terrible. That's really not that good. There's a Typhoon too. Get out. Yeah, there's a lot of them in me. Cool. You got a Typhoon at least. You go. It's the MiG-3. We're gonna wait a little bit on that MiG-3. The longer it takes, the worse his chances get because he's oil leaking a little bit. He has so much oil leaking that the Americans are gonna show up anytime. I mean an American aircraft. The P-43 is the precursor to the P-47. Basically, they did it is a P-47 baby. Basically, look at the engine, and it has a turbocharger on the same place as the P-47, but the P-47 is like much bigger. But it tries to do the same thing as the P-47, but it's still like little. It's a little upgrade over. But for the Americans, it was like, we can still keep the P-40s, no problem. And the P-51s are coming and stuff, and then you go, oh, okay, I know what to do. I have an idea. They said, and they just went completely overboard with the whole design. That's how the P-43 was born. They just said, all right, you want big? Here's the biggest turbocharger in the world ever fitted to an aircraft. And we have decided to design our entire plane around that supercharger or turbocharger. Hey, that's a stolen kill. Nice. On P-39, and that's what I should have done with the Spitfire, to be honest. Now I'm in this situation where I'm just waiting to be attacked by the P-39K. I have a P-39 for the Russian P-39. Tile 2. So the China lore is basically that they took everything that couldn't be sold anywhere else. But also a lot of things that could be sold. And then that was the whole warlord era of China. How good of you that put me in a chasing position. Thank you. That was kind of a stolen kill. But nice. God damn, it's the Giga Chad, the 102mm thing. It's a big engine. But then again, I think it's unfair to just not put the P-43 in the US tech tree and every other tech and like, the other Chinese American planes too. Maybe not at Curtiss 21, but maybe yes. Some of the army dive bombers because yeah, that even France has one. There's a Chinese player playing a Russian plane. And I'm gonna attack him with a Chinese plane, which is an American plane. But the Ek one is just silly. It's MB-157. This plane at 2.7 is just really good to fly. Not as much as I would say that the golden standard is the P40. If you fly the get the P40, you learn how to play the P40. It's really strong at its BR and it's really low in its BR. You're gonna have a lot of fun with it. And you will also learn a lot of fundamentals for fighting with a plane that isn't really that good on turning, but isn't exactly a flying brick, let's say it that way. Which is honestly a big positive for that plane. 47 would be another also really cool plane to fly, but you know how Gaijin is about the P-47. It's not their fault, it's more players' fault. It's not a good turner, it's a big bulky vehicle, and I'm into fighting a Wellington. The Wellington is a big. He's not a big dude. He's a weak dude. But I should attack from below because it's a British plane. British bombers don't have ventral turrets. And I'm out of ammo. So let's just hope he runs out of oil in the meantime. I'm gonna run out of oil and engine in the meantime. There's only one airfield on this map. That's where it is. There's a MiG-3. Entirely interesting. We're gonna kill the engine on purpose because we leak so much oil. Isn't actually engine isn't actually overheating that much. We have 2 more degrees before critical oil heat. 1 more degree. Can make it back.
This plane really does look like a baby P-47, so. But also, I just think that if you like the P-47, just play a bit of China and try this thing. I have the P-47 for China too. I like the P-47. Really cool plane. It's unfortunate that a lot of people skip lower tiers, especially for the US, especially for Russia, because they just want to play the newest and hottest thing, and then they miss out on these little things, these little guys. They're not even that little. They just looked little. But really, it's their loss. If they want to play the entire game with a single plane, then it's their problem. You're off. We are repaired, refueled, rearmed, ready to rumble. Oh god damn it! Oh god damn! The Wellington is still alive, and he's the last one alive. Interesting. And he's dead. Let's take a look at the rewards, please. Thank you. And we have this one spaded too. Nice and done. T44 too. K61 1. What's it? So nice to be in a tier where you don't have to spade the multiple vehicles just to get one.
This is only line 3, this is not much. These are the last US planes until the jet age. Let's play some P-47s. It's not the best looking camouflage on a P-47 I have seen, but it's at least it's something. Tell leaf drab. Plane's entirely stock, so gonna have to. Oh god, I didn't. I think I didn't change it or whatever. Safety Cal is gonna do its job, whether it likes it or not. Damn. That's another P-47 Razorback. Three nations have a Razorback. That's the UK. No, I think maybe I don't know. I think that I know that the UK has, the China has, and US the US has. That's guaranteed. I think there are more. I think there was a German one as well. Kind of bored, honestly. I think I'm gonna end the stream after this match. Wasn't really that long, but well with it. It was a stream of all time. We're just climbing, nothing is happening right now.
That's a Swedish Mustang. Oh damn, I have terrible aim. Finally. Everyone's happy now. He was pretty AFK though. Damn. Fortunate. Is the P47 has enough ammo that I can be really bad at aiming? Usually it doesn't. Don't have that luxury too. Spray even a little bit. Damn. Straight up beautiful. Thanks for the finished off. I really like to get myself some finished offs, especially in a stock plane. It gets a little bit of rewards. I don't have to go play CAS. Oh god. That's another one dead. And the enemy team is basically over. Yeah, the game has pretty much ended. We won. No questions, but there is still two enemies. We have no idea where they are. That's the beauty of RRB. You just oh god damn, that's a bummer. What a bummer. Alright. Wait until the sun goes down and then the game will finally end. Don't speak Russian though. That's unfortunate. There's two enemies. I have a feeling they are camping the airfield or something. Wow, too close, too close. Gun convergence. Is that the G26? At least he knocks me out of a match. Can appreciate that too. We are once again only going back because the engine is absolutely devastated. But it did a lot of damage already. We get no fuel dumping either. See you, Victor. Hello, Victor. Victor. It's fun. Oh God. Oh, another B-18. Wow. Wait, the entire enemy team was Swedish planes. No, no, that's not true. But you know, the game now does this funny thing. What do you think I'm doing? I'm playing War Thunder. I think I'm gonna die. I should just emergency land. I don't think I can fly. No, I can't fly there. I need to emergency land this thing, and I don't know how. This is a P-47, and that's like our only chance of putting this thing down. Is to put it down between the trees, but I don't think that's gonna work. Need to stall very precisely between the trees and not hit them. Oh fuck. Like I said, that's one way to go down, but we lived. We lived. And the J26 got his kill too. So he gets the points. Victor. Oh, that's nice. Get the compressor upgrade, the new machine guns and engine. That's nice. I said I'm gonna shut down the stream. Online vagy, Viktor? De nem hiszem, hogy itt vagy valami. Ja, nem vagy online. Akkor mindegy. Well then, should we go one more or... Gyúrd ki magad, utána várunk itt, mert kelleni fog, hol meg kell beszélni egy-két dolgot Hárskuttal kapcsolatban. Na, hello, hello. And I'm shutting off the stream. Bye bye. See you next time.